Hello and welcome to Sacred Lotus Yoga. I'm Sarah and thank you so much for joining me for today's practice, focusing on our third eye chakra, Ajna. Located in the center of our forehead and associated with the color indigo, our third eye chakra allows for self-reflection and is the center of our consciousness and intuition. Our third eye chakra is the sixth energy center of our 7 primary chakras. And if you would like to learn more about the other chakras, you can check out the previous classes via the links in the description. So make yourself comfortable, and when you're ready, come join me on the mat and we'll begin. We'll begin today's practice sitting in a comfortable seat, either sitting one foot in front of the other or crossing at the ankles. We'll rest one hand on top of the next, and we'll gently close our eyes and begin to bring ourselves into the room, onto our mat, and into our practice. Beginning to notice how the body feels. As we notice our mind, we'll begin to draw our awareness to the space where our third eye rests and imagine an indigo ball of energy there. And with each inhale, we notice that ball of energy spread and grow through the body as it offers warmth and clarity. Inhale and exhale. And we'll bring our hands into prayer, resting our hand up towards our third eye. And we'll repeat an affirmation 3 times together, either out loud or to yourself in silence. I have clarity and peace of mind. Taking one inhale and exhale. I have clarity and peace of mind. I have clarity and peace of mind. I have clarity and peace of mind. And we'll release our hands back down towards our knees, and we'll gently begin to blink our eyes open, softly bringing ourselves back into the room. And from here, we're going to make our way into our first pose, into child's pose. Bringing our big toes to touch, keeping our knees roughly hip-width distance apart as we send our hips back towards our heels. We'll rest our forehead down onto the mat, arms rest heavy, and we'll begin to bring some stillness. As we begin to stimulate our Ajna chakra, we're offering ourselves a moment of silence to refocus our body and mind. So just begin to notice and check in, noticing your emotions. Notice what's going on. Finding more softness with each breath. Finding a release with each exhale. From here, we're going to gently release out of our pose, looking up towards the hands, floating your body through tabletop. We'll make our way from here into puppy pose, walking the hands forward. Release the forehead down towards the mat as you melt your heart space down towards the ground, keeping your hips stacked over the knees as you stretch your arms forward. When our third eye chakra is blocked, we may feel tension or strain in the brow area. Maybe we can have a lack of focus and struggle with self-doubt. So use your exhale, use your breath to release any emotions, any feelings that you don't want to carry with you. And with each exhale, sinking the body deeper down towards the mat. Releasing strain, releasing that stress. Staying with your breath, keeping your focus with the pose. And we'll look up towards our hands and we'll release out of the pose, walking your hands back in line under the shoulders. From here, we'll make our way into our first downward facing dog, tucking our toes under, spreading our fingers wide. We're going to begin to send our hips high, pressing our hips towards the back of the room, keeping your knees as deeply bent as you need to, pressing the mat away from you. And we'll begin to bend and straighten the opposite leg. Just beginning to wake up the back of the legs, stretching through the spine, down through the hamstrings, walking out our dog. Remembering to keep the knees as deeply bent as you need to, not worried about the heels touching the ground, just keeping that awareness there. And we'll begin to look up towards our hands as we slowly walk ourselves up towards the top of the mat. We make our way into a forward fold. Knees are deeply bent and we allow our upper body to hang heavy into a ragdoll pose. Option to take hold of opposite elbow to begin to release even deeper into the lower back. Letting go of any tension, lengthening and elongating the spine. You may want to begin to rock side to side in the hips, just to find even more of a release. Really beginning to notice and listen to what the body wants to do. Maybe it wants to stay in stillness, or maybe it wants to find a little bit of movement. Just notice what you notice here. Remembering to breathe fully, keeping your awareness on the present. And release the hands down towards the mat if you haven't done so already. Coming back into our ragdoll pose. Keeping a bend in the knees, protecting the lower back. We're going to interlace our index finger and our middle finger around the big toe. We'll begin to shift our weight up towards the ball of the feet as we bend into the elbows and drop the head heavy. We want to make sure our legs aren't too straight here. We're not locking out at the knees. Keeping a nice deep bend through the legs. As we draw our forehead closer towards the knees. Lengthening through the spine. Staying with the breath. And we'll gently release, bring the fingers to rest onto the mat. We're going to step our right foot towards the back of the mat and we'll pivot on the feet so we begin to walk our hands into the center of the mat. So you want both feet, the outer edges, facing towards the short edge of the mat as we come in to our wide-legged forward fold. Allow the head to hang heavy as you walk the hands in line with the feet. And we'll make our way into a halfway lift, gently hinging from the hips, creating a nice long spine, keeping the gaze looking down towards the mat. And release, walk the hands back in line with the feet. Hands are about shoulder width distance apart. Trying to draw our upper body closer towards the legs. We want to keep a soft bend in the knees as we hinge from the hips. Should feel a fantastic opening through the backs of the legs as we lengthen the spine. Folds are great for stimulating our third eye chakra by flipping our perspective, reminding ourselves to look at every task, every challenge from a different point of view. And from here, we're going to draw our hands behind our lower back, interlace our fingers, and begin to drop your hands over your head. Beginning to get a little bit deeper into the shoulders. If this is feeling a little bit too much, you can always bring the hands back down to rest onto the mat for a bit more support. Pressing the knuckles away from you, opening through the heart space. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to smile. And we'll release our hands back down towards the lower back. And we'll release the grip. Bring our hands back down to the mat if they're not there already. And we'll make our way into a halfway lift. Nice long spine. And we'll gently release back into our forward fold. We're going to bring our hands either to take hold of the sides of the legs, the ankles, or once again interlacing the fingers around the big toes. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, draw the body closer towards the legs. Don't forget to keep a soft bend in the knees. Weight coming into the balls of the feet, drawing the crown of your head closer towards the mat. These folds can sometimes be a little bit intense, so if at any point you need to come out, please do. Maybe shaking the head left and right, making sure you're holding no tension in the neck, in the shoulders or in the head. And we'll gently release the grip wherever you're holding. Walk the hands back to center. Once again, halfway lift. We're going to pivot on the left foot as we walk our hands back up to frame the left foot. And we'll step the left leg to meet the right. Drop the knees back down onto the mat. Big toes come to touch. Hips towards the heels, back into a child's pose. Hands are long away from you. Hips are hanging heavy towards the heels. We're going to come up onto the fingertips as if we're trying to claw in towards the mat. And we'll walk our fingers a little bit farther forward. And then begin to melt back down onto the mat. Creating more space through the sides of the body. Resting our third eye down onto the mat. Drawing your focus, drawing your awareness back inside the body. And we'll begin to look up towards the hands. Hover the body up into a tabletop. And from here, we're going to bring our left leg into the center of the mat. And we're going to sweep our right foot around as if we're sitting in a cross-legged seat and sit back in between the heels. So we're coming into the Gomukhasana, cow face pose. We're going to begin to inhale, reach the right arm, pointing up towards the sky, bending at the elbow. So the fingers come down, resting along the spine. Left arm comes out to the side, and see if you can interlace the fingers, taking hold of the fingers. If this is a little bit too tricky, you can always take hold of your top, or just point your fingers in that direction. If this is way too tight in your hips, you can come into any comfortable seat that feels right for you. Gently close the eyes and bring the awareness back inside the body. We're going to take the next few moments to turn our awareness inwards and focus on releasing all tension, all stress from the body and mind. Gently begin to blink your eyes open. And we'll release our right hand back up towards the sky, rest it down, and release the left arm away. And then we'll gently and slowly walk the hands forward. And from here, we're just going to swing the left leg out in front of you and wrap it around the right. Open the feet wide and sit back towards the heels. And just notice if this side feels a little bit tighter in the hips, or maybe feels a little bit more open. And we'll swing our left arm up and overhead, bend at the elbow, drop the fingers down the spine, swing the right arm around and see if you can take hold of the fingers, or take hold of your top, or just point your fingers in that general direction. Take a deep inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, close the eyes, open through the chest, creating clarity, creating space, just knowing that you're here will instill on you that you can achieve anything you need to. Inhale And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Nice steady breath. And we'll gently blink our eyes open, unwind out of the pose, release the left arm down, and we'll release the right arm. Now the hips might be quite tight, the shoulders can be tight. Maybe just shaking through the shoulders. And we'll very, very gently come out of the pose, unwinding the legs, and rest the heels down onto the mat, keeping the knees bent, hands behind you. We'll just drop the knees left and right, bringing some movement back into the hips. And the next time the knees come to the left, we'll come into a twist by looking over the right shoulder. Maybe close the eyes, soften through the knees, soften through the hips. Allow your shoulders to drop heavy away from the ears. And we'll take it to the next side. Drop the knees to the right. Draw the gaze over to the left. Twisting from the belly. Releasing any tension in the feet as we gently close our eyes. Soften the muscles in your belly. Soften any part of the body that you can. And release and let go. And we'll bring our knees back to center. And from here, we're going to make our way into Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet to touch, dropping your knees heavy. And we'll gently begin to lengthen through the spine as we hinge forward from the hips and begin to fold over the legs. Flip the palms, allow them to rest down onto the mat, and just release the body down. We don't pull ourselves into this pose. Allow gravity to do the work here. Gently and softly close your eyes and begin to bring stillness down to the body. Drawing your focus, drawing your awareness back inside the body. Inhale and exhale. And we'll gently come out of the pose, plant the hands down onto the mat. And very, very softly, we're going to begin to come back up. Out of the pose, look towards the hands. And slide the hands back in toward the body. And from here, we'll make our way into a comfortable seat like we did in the beginning. Crossing at the ankles or sitting one foot in front of the other. Sitting up nice and tall, find length through the spine. We're going to rest our hands down onto our legs. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, close the eyes. Draw your awareness back inside the body and mind. We'll repeat our affirmation once again to hold with us throughout our day. I have clarity and peace of mind. Soften through the body. Release and let go of tension. And bring your hands into prayer. And bring your hands up towards your third eye. Thank yourselves for making it to your practice and staying present throughout. And we thank each other for sharing our space together. As we softly bow, Namaste.